The Princeton High School gym awaiting the start of the showdown, the revenge match for the Tigers. They're wanting to get even with the Huntington Pony Express. While we're waiting to start tonight's game, we've got a special guest moving in alongside. I got the head coach of the Bramwell Millionaires, Mr. Robert Ray. How are you this evening, Robert?
Just fine.
Robert, we want to talk a little bit about Class A basketball in the Mercer County area. Of course, first of all, your main interest is with Bramwell. We want you to tell us a little bit about your ball club and how you think they've been progressing this season.
Well, first of all, Craig, I would like to thank the radio station for having me on the air, because a lot of the single-A schools don't get the publicity that it should get in the newspapers or in any other type press we have. And I would just like to thank the radio station for having me on, first of all. And concerning our team this year, we've had our ups and downs. We've been making a lot of lineup changes, trying to get a combination working. And the league is so even this year that you don't know who's going to win each night you go out. And our team has been progressing slowly but at a good rate with the tournament coming up. We started going on an uphill swing when we played Jaeger about 2 weeks ago. We lost to them by 5 points, but we've been going uphill ever since. We had a win over Montcalm and a win over Pocahontas last night. And I feel if we can keep that same pace, we'll be ready when tournament time come around.
You did mention that the Mercer County Class A ball is very balanced this year, and it is. Of course, we have a new coach over at Montcalm, and they've got great potential there and a bunch of youngsters. And then, of course, you've got Athens, who has a bunch of senior leaders over there. And you've got Bramwell, of course, and you've also got Spanishburg, who's making a move this year. And there's really no weak team in that bunch.
No, Chuck Lambert is doing a fantastic job at Montcalm after losing a lot of seniors last year and the year before that when they went to the state.
And, of course, I left out Joe Allen over at Matoka.
Yes.
Leave him out.
Well, the teams are so even, I'll just give you a rundown on how the games have been going this year. We played in the Christmas tournament. Montcalm beat Spanishburg. We turn around and beat Matoka. We go back and play at home against Matoka. Matoka and Spanishburg beat us at home. Then they turn around and Matoka beat Spanishburg. So it's a toss-up, you know, in our section with those 4 teams.
That's right. And, of course, you're talking mainly about Bramwell. We want you to run down and give some appreciation to some of the leaders on your ball club.
All right. We're starting 3 seniors this year, and 2 of them are guards. And I feel that our guards have to be the key to our winning this year. And they've been up and down, but the last 3 games, they've been fantastic for us. And, of course, inside, we have 3 starters back inside, with John Ketson doing mostly playing a passing role with our 2 top scorers, Toby Rose and Mike Tabor. Mike is averaging around 21 a game, and Toby's averaging around 20 a game. And Tabor's averaging around 16 rebounds, and Toby's averaging around 10. So they've been carrying the scoring load for us, but our guards have been coming around playing good defense. We helped Pocahontas to 18 field goals last night out of 60-some shots. So they're putting pressure on the people that we need to put pressure on.
That's what you need to do in order to win in high school ball. We've got Robert Ray alongside, and we'll be talking with Coach Robert Ray when we return right after this. Princeton High School Gymnasium, we're waiting the start of the Princeton Tiger Huntington Pony Express game. I'm Craig May, and I'm talking with Coach Robert Ray of the Bramwell Millionaires. And Coach Ray, we want to talk about, of course, you mentioned that your team is progressing. You feel as though they're on an uphill swing. Tell us what you expect in some of the upcoming games.
All right, we have 4 games left, and they'll make or break us and tell me exactly what we're capable of doing going into the tournament. We have Spanishburg and Matoka away from home next week, and then we come back the following week and play Athens, and then we go away to Jaeger, which is a tough AA school. So that should get us ready. We should know where we are when we get ready to go into the tournaments.
And, of course, you're talking about the tournaments. That's a tough road to hoe.
Yes. Over the last 5 years, the top teams in the state, the top 5 teams, have been in the 2 sections who are in our region. And if we do get out of our region, you have another section with Athens, Peterstown, who I feel are the 2 best single-A clubs in the state. And so if we do make it out of our section, we'll have a tough road to even get a chance to go to the state with those 2 teams.
Well, you know, last year, the Bramwell Millionaires went into the sectional tournament as even an underdog. They emerged out of the sectionals. They went to the regionals. and with a miraculous victory in the semifinals over the Peterstown Pirates.
Oh, yeah, that was one of the great victories for the Bramwell High School and for me as a coach. I think the game is played so scientific now, and the coaches are so well versed on what they're doing that if one team is off one night, anybody can get beat. And I think we proved that last year when we went into the tournament underdogs against Peterstown. And even when we played Mount Hope, we had a chance to win that game, but our kids, you know, what do you say, run out of gas, and they were playing against one of the greatest high school players in the country, against Earl Jones. So anything can happen. And in turn, Mount Hope went up and lost to a St. Francis team who didn't even win the state tournament. So anything can happen.
Well, Coach Ray, we appreciate you stopping by and talking with us, and we wish you the best of luck throughout the rest of the season, and we wish you luck going into the tournaments.
All right, thank you a lot,
Thank you, Coach. We'll be back with more of tonight's pregame show. We're about ready for ball game when we return right after this. We're back at the Princeton High School gym. Of course, I got dear old Dad alongside, and Bob Graham. So why don't you two talk for a while?
Hey, Bob, welcome aboard. I understand you've got a whole passel of messages we got to pass on tonight.
Well, we sure do, and Mike Eads wants us to say hello to his grandparents, Mr. and Mrs. Ferguson and Mr. and Mrs. White, and John Hansberger, and he points out to us the third, wants us to say hello to his dad.
He didn't tell me if his dad was a second or not. He just said he was a third.
And, well, John's somebody we've overlooked sometimes on these broadcasts. He comes in and does a good job of substitute work off the bench, usually if St. Clair East have foul problems, and does a good job in relief at that guard position for Princeton. And on a sadder kind of note, and that is that last night we thought Bill Harmon had sprained his ankle, and tonight Bill's at Princeton Community Hospital and probably will be undergoing surgery tomorrow for some torn ligaments and bone fragments, I understand. And we'd like to say hello to Bill up at the hospital. And also to Ann Metter, who we understand has the flu tonight and couldn't be with us.
Bob, I also want to mention one of the neighbors I'm associated with, Tara Lively, is undergoing some sickness this evening. She's being treated in the Princeton Community Hospital. We want to pass a hello on to her.
Well, we want to wish all those well, and we certainly want to make sure that we mention the lovely, vivacious, and effervescent Ann Meadow, who's not with us tonight, and we certainly miss her sparkling comeuppance that she gives to us every once in a while. And Ann, we hope that you're feeling better. Ann's working on a bout of the flu, but somebody said she left the window open last night, an influenza.
That was before mine and Bob's time.
That's a small center.
The Pony Express just being introduced. Now we're waiting on the Tigers to come out. And Bob, if you remember now, way back on January the 9th, we traveled to Huntington and absorbed a 70-57 licking from these guys in a very physical ball club. We'd like to see it change around tonight.
Well, we sure would. And up there, the two guards for Huntington, John Smith and Barnes, had 16 and 21 points respectively for both of them. But both of those young men fouled out in that ball game at Huntington. Walker had 11 points for them at Huntington. For Princeton, Jimmy Miller had 18, Eads 15, and St. Clair Ford, James DeWitt had 12. And I would say Princeton probably played their poorest game of the season at Huntington.
I think that you're right. But I think the trip bothered them. I think the field house bothered them down there. Big old empty cavernous place.
Well, Princeton had trouble last year at that field. As a matter of fact, they got beat by, I believe, 3 points last year down there at Huntington.
You know, Bob, the thing I remember about that trip, you remember on the way home, me and you and Dad, we experienced a flat tire in Huntington.
We sure did.
Man, I remember that well.
And we experienced a flat tire before we found a place to eat,
That's
too.
right.
What, did somebody come home hungry?
No, we found a place to eat after we fixed the tire.
Well, yeah, but Carly and Tia changed the tire.
By the way, Carly says she's going to do an interview with us at the Greenbrier East game at halftime. You remember that?
Okay. We're talking about Carly, Princeton cheerleader right now. Bunch of lively kids. We're ready for basketball. The Tigers out there with Jimmy Miller, Stephon Murray, James DeWitt, Mike Eads, and Jeff St. Clair. And we'll have Jimmy Miller stepping in to jump against Gaston Walker. Walker's in, Miller's in, waiting on the official now, and the tip's controlled by the Tigers. Throws it down the backcourt to St. Clair. Jeff puts it on the floor, and they'll start the offense. Huntington in a 2-on-2 zone. Eads with the ball, wing position right side. Back outside with it to St. Clair to DeWitt on the left side. We got a whistle underneath. Miller and somebody mixing up Randy's spot. foul called on Spot, holding Miller from getting his low post position. As the official very alertly caught that one back beside the lane, it'll be Tiger ball out of bounds on the baseline. DeWitt will pull the trigger, drops it into Miller on the high post to St. Clair, top of the key, goes to the lane, fires, no good, rebound, pulled down by Huntington as Walker pulls it down, losing it out of bounds. It'll be Tiger ball on the far side as he couldn't get the handle on it as he put it down for the dribble. And they're going to play it on the baseline. And DeWitt will pull it down, put it in play as he flips it way outside to Jeff St. Clair. To Eads on the left side, starts it toward the corner, holds it up now, looks underneath, gives it back outside to St. Clair. Jeff comes across the top of the key to the near side to DeWitt. DeWitt starts it toward the corner, gives it back outside. They go around the horn to Eads. He'll fire from 20 feet. Off the iron, no good. Ball tipped around, finally controlled by Huntington. As they'll bring it to the offense, Walker into the front court with it to Smith. Smith gives it back to Walker. He puts it on the glass. We got a whistle and a foul. The bucket was no good. I think the foul will be on DeWitt. And it is on James DeWitt, and it is number 1 on James. Team foul number 1 on the Tigers. And on the free throw line will be Gaston Walker of the Pony Express. As coming out of the ball game is Randy Spot. He's wearing a knee brace. He comes out limping, and moving in for him as Walker fires his first free throw, it's good. As James Jackson checked into the ball game in place of Spot. And we'll have Walker on the line to try the second free throw. 1-0. Tigers trail. 7:19 to play in the first quarter. Walker fires. It is no good as Miller picks it off the front of the lip. Hands it to St. Clair, and the Tigers will come to the offense. Jeff waits for traffic to clear, moves it to the front court, right side to DeWitt. DeWitt goes toward the baseline, flips it underneath to Miller, knocked loose, flipped outside by Huntington. They're on the run with it as Barnes takes it into the lane, trying to get it to Smith. It's knocked out of bounds off of the Ponies. Eads and St. Clair closing fast on the defense. One of them deflected the ball off of the Huntington man's leg, and it'll be Tiger ball back court. Eads inbounds it to St. Clair. He brings it to the front court on the right-hand dribble. To the left side to Eads. Eads on the dribble. Gives it back outside to St. Clair. To DeWitt on the near side, firing from 18 feet off the back iron, no good. Rebound pulled outside by Barnes of Huntington. On the run, they got a 3-on-2, but Eads is down to break it up, and we got a foul on Eads. As John Smith, running at wing position on that right side, fast break, found Eads there going stride for stride, and that's foul number 1 on Mike. Team foul number 2 on the Tigers. I didn't think Eads was that quick. As Smith gets pretty quick. Mike was running right with him there. Actually caught him.
And Huntington's running that break extremely well, but Princeton looks like they have quickness to match up with them. They had the man in the center, they had the 2 men coming in on each side, and Mike Eads was able to break up the fast break.
Now they're trying to determine, Huntington thinks it should be a shooting foul. Princeton says no, it was a foul on the pass, so it should be out of bounds. So they're going to give it to him on the baseline.
I think we're doing some equipment repairs.
Well, it's on that youngster's knee they're going to tape on down there, I guess, right now. So Huntington comes back to the offense. Barnes with the ball left side, gives the top of the key to Walker. To the far side to Smith, gives it back to Walker, and they bring it back to the near side to Barnes. As they flip it around the top of the horn, now Smith will fire from 23 feet. He drilled it. Bingo. 3-0. Tigers trailing. As Huntington intercepts the inbounds pass, puts it back up and in. John Smith playing the alert defense on the press, puts the Ponies up 5-0 as Preston comes to the offense now. St. Clair in the front court. Holds it up, knocked loose, picked up by Huntington. Should have a travel, no call. As they come out of the melee with it, into the front court, Huntington still moving. Walker with the ball. Raise it to the far side to Jackson, puts it up. No good. We got a whistle and a foul underneath.
They call goaltending on Miller on that blocked shot.
All right, goaltending on the Tigers, and they dropped 7-0 off the pace. 6:11 to play in the first quarter. Tigers have not rang the bell yet. Miller takes the inbounds pass, and it's intercepted by Smith. Gives it over to the near side to Barnes. Puts it up, no good. Rebound fought for. Comes to the floor. Eads, drills his way out of there, and he is fouled by one of the Ponies, and I believe it'll be Barnes. It is Barnes. That's number 2 on Barnes, number 1 on Barnes. Team foul number 2 on the Ponies. 7-0. Tigers trail as Huntington's press is tearing them up.
They've committed 3 turnovers already. All of them down here on that press.
As St. Clair top of the key with the ball now. Left side to Eads. Starts it toward the corner. Dribbles 3 times. Gives it back outside to St. Clair. To the right side to DeWitt. Starts it into the corner. Drops it to Miller on the low post. Banks it up and in. As Miller working at baseline. Put it on the glass. Got it. As Huntington comes back full court pass. And Smith drops it out of bounds. John Smith trying to keep the ball inbounds, dropped it over the baseline, and the Tigers will have it out of bounds in the backcourt. As DeWitt inbounds it to St. Clair. St. Clair brings it to the front court, top of the key, right side with it to James DeWitt now. Back outside to St. Clair. Eads on the far side, drives to the baseline, puts the shot up on the iron, no good. Tipped by Miller, no good. Tipped out of bounds by Huntington. It'll be Tiger ball. Tipping it out was Walker of the Ponies, as DeWitt will inbound it. As DeWitt pulls the trigger to St. Clair, top of the key. Jeff firing from 20 feet, good. 7-4, the Tigers getting back into it. Huntington comes back on the run. Bring it to the front court is Barnes. Gives it to the far side to Smith. Works around Murray. Fires over Murray. Off the iron, no good. Rebounded to Witt on the near side. And they got Murray out, but he can't get the pass loose as Huntington steals the pass. Puts the shot up, no good. Comes out to the floor. This time picked up by DeWitt. DeWitt controls for the Tigers. Gives it to St. Clair. Jeff brings it to the front court. To DeWitt on the right side. DeWitt gives it back outside. And the pass knocked loose, picked up by St. Clair. Almost an over and back infraction. Now Eads with the ball. Works toward the lane. Trying to get it to Murray. Throws it out of bounds. It'll be Tiger ball. Huntington disagrees with the call. I may, too. The Tigers will play it on the baseline. One of the Huntington kids standing outside saying, hey, it's our ball. But no, they give it to DeWitt. He inbounds it to Eads in the corner. Firing from 20 feet. Off the iron, no good. Eads follows. Fakes. Goes into the lane. Hooks it up. And the shot is no good. He is fouled by someone across the lane. And we'll get a number on that foul. And that foul will be on James Jackson. That'll put Eads on the line to shoot 2. 7-4. Tigers trailing by 3. And that's foul number 1 on Jackson. Team foul number 3 on the Ponies. 4:44 to play in the first quarter. Tigers having a little trouble getting started here tonight. As Eads on the line to shoot 2 shots. Michael fire with the right hand. He puts the first one up. It's good. Eads will have another attempt. As he's ready, he fires. It's good. 7-6. We got a 1-point ball game, and now the Tigers will press. As Barnes with the ball in the backcourt, picked up his dribble, gets it to Walker. Walker has the pass deflected. Murray's in the scrap for in the middle of the floor. Now Eads comes out with it. Now the pass deflected from Eads, picked up by Huntington. As Barnes comes out with it. Into the front court to Smith. Smith on the right side, drives to the baseline, drops it into the lane. Hartfield, we got a real mix-up down here, a whistle and a foul on one of the Tigers, I'm sure. As Hartfield was surrounded by Murray, Miller, and Eads. This is who they give it to. And they're going to give it to Stefan. And on Stefan, it'll be number 1. Team foul number 4 on the Tigers. As the Ponies inbound to Smith with the ball. Firing from 20 feet off the iron, no good. Smith follows the shot, goes to the baseline. Miller blocks the shot. Eads pulled it out of the air. Eads gives it to St. Clair. And the Tigers come to the offense with an opportunity to take the lead. St. Clair to the right side to DeWitt. James, he'll fire from 18 feet, hit the net. Nothing but the bottom of the net. 7-8. It's 8-7. Tigers up as Huntington comes to the offense. Barnes with the ball, left side. Holds it high overhead to Smith on the far side. Back to Barnes. He'll fire from the side of the key. It's in and out, no good. Eads rebounding for the Tigers. Looking for help now. He brings it out on the dribble. Works on Walker and moves it to the front court. Eads still with the ball, gives it to St. Clair. 2-1-2 zone for the Ponies right now as Eads takes the ball, drives to the baseline, trying to get it to Murray. It's not loose. Loose on the floor, slapped around, picked up by Huntington. They've got a 3-on-1 fast break. We've got it carrying the ball as John Smith lost control of the dribble and pushed it.
I believe these presses.
And the official warning the Huntington bench right now for something that was said out there.
I believe these presses on either end of the floor.
We have a technical foul.
Now we do get the take on the Huntington bench. Or is it a timeout?
No, that was a technical foul.
And Jeff St. Clair will shoot it.
That'll be a two shot.
He warned the Huntington bench just prior to that, and then as he was walking away, he turned and nailed him with the technical. I don't know what Jim Ward, the Huntington coach, said, but it must have been blistering. And we'll have St. Clair on the line. He'll shoot 2 technicals, since it's a bench called technical. As St. Clair on the line. He'll fire with the right hand. 87% on the season. He hit it. He'll get another one.
No, wait a minute. The referee only held up the 1 finger for the technical foul.
Now, wait a minute. How come it's not?
Well, maybe it was a player that said something.
It's on the bench. It comes off the floor. It's supposed to be a technical. So now the Huntington calls timeout. They want to discuss this. So with the score, Princeton 9, Huntington 7. We'll be back right after these messages. Real well in this pass.
They're having trouble getting the shooting on track.
As we come back, now the officials, after Bob corrected them and told them of the error, let Princeton shoot another technical, and they did, and St. Clair made it. So now it's 10-7. Tigers are up by 3, and the Tigers will have the ball out of bounds. A technical call on the bench was for 2 shots, and St. Clair got both of them. I just don't know how these officials would get along, Bob, without your help.
I'm not sure either. Not on that one, because I don't think I said anything about that, by the way, but I think anytime it's on the bench, it has to be a 2-shot foul.
As St. Clair with the ball for the Tigers now. To DeWitt, left side wing position. Gives it back top of the key to St. Clair. They come to Eads on the near side. Eads holds it overhead, looks underneath, gives it back to Jeff. He'll fire from 23 feet. It's short. Rebound pulled down by the Ponies as they get it out to Barnes, running with it to the front court. St. Clair back to head him off. St. Clair blocked the shot. St. Clair called for the foul. And on Jeff, that'll be number 1. Team foul number 4 or 5 on the Tigers. Number 4.
Number 4. They had called a goaltend on Jimmy a while ago. And
okay, that's a shooting foul. So it'll put Dwayne Barnes on the free throw line to shoot 2 for the Ponies. 10-7, Tigers up with 3:13 to play in the first quarter. As Barnes fires the first free throw, it's good. He'll have a second attempt.
The line for the Ponies press, Dwayne Barnes.
As Barnes will have one more. He'll fire for the right hand. It's on the way and good. 10-9, 1-point ball game, and Huntington will press as DeWitt will inbound it, gets it into St. Clair. They immediately double team him. St. Clair comes forward on the dribble, gets it to Miller on the fly. Miller going to the baseline, 5 from 12 feet, hit it. 12-9, Tigers up as Miller took a fine pass from St. Clair, used a fadeaway jump shot from the baseline right side. As Huntington to the offense, Smith with the ball, works to the key, gives it underneath to Hartfield, goes under, fires, no good. Rebound fought for, brought down by Eads as Eads clears it out. Eads on the dribble with it to the front court for the Tigers as the Tigers come to the attack. To St. Clair, to DeWitt on the left side, to St. Clair top of the key, to Eads on the near side, lifts at the bucket, does not shoot, gives it back outside to St. Clair. To DeWitt, he'll fire from the far side, 18 feet, it's on the flange, no good. Rebound fought for, Miller's got it, puts it up good. As Miller puts the Tigers out by 5, and the upbound club court pass deflected by one of the Tigers, recovered by Huntington. As Barnes moves it to the front court for Huntington. To Smith, to the left side. Has the ball knocked loose, picked up by Eads in heavy traffic. He waits for it to clear, gives it over to Miller, and Jimmy on the dribble with it to the front court. Holds it up, waits for St. Clair to come to him, gives it to Jeff. As St. Clair will start the offense to DeWitt. They go to Miller on the low post, they overlet him and threw it out of bounds. Coming into the ball game for Huntington now will be
Crawford.
Lloyd Crawford. I got him listed number 25. They got him 52.
Ponies press number 52, Brian Morgan.
Well, we don't have her.
Who they call him? Brian something.
Brian Morgan.
Brian Morgan, okay. As Huntington to the offense with it. As Smith with the ball outside. Gives it to Barnes, back to Smith, drives it to the baseline, works underneath, goes to the free throw line, puts a shot up, comes off the edge of the glass, picked out by St. Clair to Eads on the run. As Eads goes on the run, goes down, up, and we got a whistle and a double dribble call. Fiddlesticks. As that turns it over, 14-9, Tigers up. As Huntington comes to the offense, Dwayne Barnes with the ball. Gets it to John Smith, and Smith on the dribble. Gives it back to Barnes into the front court. Tigers in a 1-3-1 zone defense. As Smith gets it over to Barnes. Barnes gives it right back to Smith as they try to work it inside. Now they get it inside to Walker, firing good as Walker goes to the baseline, puts up the pretty shot. As Huntington will press. St. Clair with the ball on the run and the dribble into the front court, behind the back dribble. To Eads on the right side, drives underneath, puts the circus shot up. It is no good. He is fouled by John Smith. And Smith doesn't understand the call. That's foul number 1 on Smith, team foul number 4 on Huntington. That should put Eads on the line as he put up a circus shot to take the foul. 14-11, Tigers up by 3, 1:13 to play in the first quarter. As Mike Eads to fire, 2 shots. He'll fire with the right hand. It's on the way and good. He'll have a second attempt. 15-11, Tigers up, 1:13 to play in the first quarter as Eads fires his second one. It's off the flange, no good. Rebound, fought for, and we got a foul on Stephon. As he was clearing over top of Morgan. That's number 2 on Murray. team foul number 5 on the Tigers, and they'll shoot that one. As Morgan walks his way to the front court.
Number 34, Stephon Murray, his second.
As Morgan fires the first free throw, no good, tipped up and in by
Stephon Murray.
Well, Gaston Walker will get credit for that. Yes, so give it to Walker. 15-13 as St. Clair in the press in the backcourt. They double team him. They turn the ball over as Morgan comes up with it and runs over St. Clair, and Jeff is hurt. Jeff hit his head on the floor as he went down. And he's still lying on the floor, and the official just now moves over to attend to him, and now they wave the coach out. St. Clair lying there on the floor, holding the right side of his head, as Morgan, a very husky lad, went over top of him.
Number 52.
And it's number 1 on Morgan, team foul number 5 on the right now. As Ralph Ball out on the floor beside of Jeff St. Clair on the floor right in front of the Tiger bench right now. And the Tigers, of course, have lost Bill Harmon's services for the season. They'll sorely miss Bill, the senior leadership that he provides as a starting forward for the Tigers. And Bill tore up his right ankle, I believe it was, or left ankle. Tore up his left ankle pretty severely last night in the Oak Hill game, and we understand that he's over to Princeton Community Hospital tonight, nursing the ankle. And I guess Amy is over nursing Bill. I don't know if Bill's that bad off or not, you know, if you think about it. Of course, as the guy said, well, some guys get all the breaks.
In this case, it was almost a broken ankle.
But Bill, the team misses you, and we certainly wish you the best. 1:01 to play in the first quarter. Princeton 15, Huntington 13. As St. Clair on his feet now, moving around, and he got his bell rung. As he walks over the bench,
Swelling coming up underneath that left eye.
as they used a little. Of course, Jeff told me in the dressing room early he's had a pretty heavy cold night. He said he felt bad. So we'll get John Osberger into the ball game for the Tigers, and he'll go to the free throw line, and he'll shoot 1-on-1.
Into the game for the Tigers, number 30, John Osberger.
As he's a 71% free throw shooter, John goes to the line. And John hit a couple of big ones last night against Oak Hill.
Yes, he did. In that fourth quarter.
So John on the line. He'll fire a 1-on-1. He hasn't had a chance to warm up, so he'll fire. He puts the first one on the way. It's good. He'll have a second attempt. 16-13. Tigers up by 3. As Hansberger will have one more. He's John Hansberger III now. We got to remember that. John fires. It's good. 17-13, and the Tigers will press. Barnes with the ball in the backcourt for Huntington. Throws it cross court to Smith. Smith on the dribble with it. Throws it to the front court. Knocked loose. Finally picked up by Walker of the Ponies. He gives it out to Smith. Smith on the wing right side to Barnes. Top of the key with it. Moves it to the near side to Walker. Walker gives it to Smith. Starts it toward the baseline. Eads heads him off. He fires over top of Eads. No good. Rebound goes to the floor. Picked up by Smith. Going all the way under to pick it up. Gives it underneath to Barnes. Firing off the baseline. No good. And we got a whistle and a foul underneath as the ball, the goal tipped in by Jackson, I believe. And Miller called for the foul.
That's the second time that it looks to me like Princeton players tipped the ball in. Looked to me like Stephon tipped one in, and it looked to me like maybe Jimmy tipped that ball in.
Well, Miller called for that foul. Is that 2 on Jimmy now?
Foul. No, that's number 1.
That's 1 on Jimmy. Team foul number 6. That'll put Hartville on the line. And now he was not the shooter, so he'll have a 1-on-1. He fires. It is no good. Rebound pulled down by Huntington. Knocked loose. Picked up by Huntington as Barnes puts a shot up. No good. Now DeWitt clears it off. Still in traffic. Gets it out to Eads. Eads holds in the backcourt as Smith puts pressure on. Gives it to Hansberger. John will take it to the front court for the Tigers. Brings it up to the right side to Eads. Eads gives it back outside to Hansberger. As the Tigers going to spread it out a little bit. 12 seconds on the clock. They'll wait for the last shot. 9 seconds. They'll start to move shortly as DeWitt with the ball starts it toward the baseline. Goes to the baseline, fires. It's on the iron. No good. Eads trying to tip. No good. Rebound goes to the floor. Picked up by Eads. Puts it up. And Miller tips it in, but it's no good. As Miller over the rim to ram it down, but it didn't count. 17-15 at the end of the first quarter. Princeton on top of the Ponies. So at the end of the first quarter of play, Princeton 17, Huntington 15. We'll be back right after this. Craig, you got some shooting percentage in that first quarter?
Huntington hit on 6 of 16 from the floor for 38%, while the Tigers hit on 5 of 15 for 33%. So neither team having that good a shooting night, and both of them came out. Huntington appeared to be able to hit well early, but they having some trouble later on in the quarter, while Princeton just took, seemed like the entire quarter to get warmed up, get the old shooting hand warm again.
As we're ready back to start the second quarter of action, the Tigers coming out with Jimmy Miller, Stephon Murray, John Hansberger, Mike Eads, and James DeWitt. And Miller moves in to jump. And he'll be jumping against Jackson. As Jackson moves in, Miller is in, waiting on the official, and Miller tips it to DeWitt. DeWitt holds it, gives it to Eads. Waits for Hansberger. John comes to the ball, and they move it to the right side, to the left side to DeWitt on the wing. Back to Hansberger. Now to the near side to Eads, to Miller in the lane. Firing. Good, and he is fouled. That foul on Smith, I believe. If it is, it's number 2 on him. It is number 2 on Smith. Team foul number 6. That bucket is good, and Miller will have a free throw. 19-15. Tigers up, and Jimmy on the line for 1.
Foul after the bucket's good. Number 11, John Smith. His second.
Go ahead.
Both of these teams were in action last night. That may account for some of the ragged play in this first quarter.
Sure may. Is Miller ready to fire his free throw? He puts it up. It's on the iron. Good. He left it on the flange for an awful long time. 20-15. Tigers up by 5 as they will press. Barnes with the ball. Gets it to the front court to Walker. Goes to the lane. Has a knock loose. Picked up by Walker. Puts it up again. And now we've got a real scramble for it and a foul called underneath. And that should be on Brian Morgan of Ponies, isn't it?
It's on John Hansberger III.
No, it's not. It's on Stephon, isn't it? 34. Maybe, I don't know. Let's see.
Number 30.
You're right. On Hansberger.
At the line for the Pony Express, Brian Morgan.
I thought that was on Morgan. Man, he was really going like a bull in a china shop in there. Morgan will fire free throws. He puts the first one up. It's no good. Rebound to Miller of the Tigers. Gives it to Hansberger. The Tigers come to the offense leading by 5 with 7:34 to play in the first half. To DeWitt on the right side wing. Gives it to Eads on the far side, firing from 20 feet. It's in and out, no good. Rebound pulled down by Huntington. As Walker pulls it down, he'll put it on the floor. Gives it to Barnes. Barnes into the front court with it. Starts it to the lane. Goes around the top of the key to Jackson on the far side. Drops it to Morgan on the post. He puts the shot up off the glass. No good. Tipped up once. No good. Rebound comes out to Hansberger. As John waits for traffic to clear. Puts it on the floor. Brings it to the front court. To DeWitt in the corner, left side. He'll fire. On the iron. No good. Rebound pulled out by Huntington. As Jackson gets it out, Miller intercepts the pass. He puts it back up from 14 feet off the glass. No good. Rebound. Outside, we got a whistle and traveling call on Huntington as Smith and Walker out on the run. One of them traveled.
This Huntington team just loves to run with that basketball.
They're fast. 6:56 to play in the first half. 20-15, Tigers up. Hansberger will inbound it for the Tigers as he gets it into Eads. Eads gives it right back to John, and he'll start the offense. They go to DeWitt on the left side wing. Gives it right back outside to Hansberger. Top of the key to Eads on the near side. Looking underneath. Gives it back outside to Hansberger to DeWitt. DeWitt starts it toward the baseline. Gives it back outside. Hansberger firing from 20 feet. Good. John Hansberger, 20 feet away. Pounds it in. 22-15. 6:30 through 6:34. Somebody did start the clock. As Huntington with the ball. Walker gives it underneath to Morgan. Puts it up and in. Brian Morgan driving the baseline. Hits it. 22-17. Tigers up by 5 as the Tigers didn't get called for it over and back here. Stephon took it to the front court, backed it into the back court. They give it to Eads and now to Hansberger. John on the dribble with it. To Eads on the right side. Starts it toward the baseline. He'll fire from 12 feet. Good. Mike Eads gets the baseline and puts it in. 24-17. As Barnes takes it to the front court for Huntington. To Smith. Smith on the far side with it. On the dribble now. Tigers in that 1-3-1 zone. Walker with the ball. Gives it right back to Smith. He starts it down the right side. Had the ball knocked loose. Picked up by Morgan. Knocked out. Picked up by Eads. Eads on the move with it. And we got a whistle and a foul in the backcourt as Eads broke it to the front court. Somebody fouled him in the backcourt. And it may be on Barnes. It is on Dwayne Barnes. And that's number 2 on Barnes. And that'll put Eads on the line, or
23, Dwayne Barnes.
Eads will be on the line. He'll shoot a 1-and-1. 5:46 to play in the first half.
21, Mike Eads.
24-17, Tigers on top. As Eads on the line to fire a 1-and-1. Mike fires. It's good. He'll have a second attempt. Mike's hitting what? 70. Hold on, it's free throw.
73%.
He's 73% free throw shooter. And he's got 3 for 3 here so far tonight as he's ready again. He fires. It's good. 26-17. Tigers up. As Barnes with the ball in the backcourt for Huntington. Throws it up court. It's deflected by Eads to DeWitt. DeWitt further for the Tigers. Gives it back to Eads. As Eads hits the floor, but he's up quickly and still moving. As Eads on the wing position left side. Dribbling slowly. Moves it toward the corner. He'll fire from 20 feet. Good. He buried it in the bottom of the net. 28-17. Tigers up by 11. They drop the press back as Barnes gets it to Smith. Smith into the front court with it for Huntington. Starts it down the right side, backs his way toward the lane. They go to Jackson in the lane. Miller blocks the shot. As Murray comes out of the pile up with the ball. Gives it to Eads. Eads on the run into the front court. Toward the key, into the lane. Goes down the lane, puts it up. It's good. We got a whistle on a foul. And it's a charging foul on Eads. But the bucket should be good. That's number 2 on Mike. And the goal is good. And they'll shoot that free throw. That's foul number 2 on Mike, isn't it?
That's his second, but his goal is good.
30-17. Tigers up by 13 with 5:09 to play in the first half, and we will have Dwayne Barnes on the free throw line for the Ponies, as he'll shoot a 1-on-1. Barnes ready to fire. As he squares away, fires with that right hand, puts it up good. He'll have a second
At
attempt.
the line, number 23, Dwayne Barnes.
As St. Clair gets off the bench, he's going to come back in for the Tigers. Barnes fires his second free throw. It's in and out. No good. Ball tipped around. Now Miller pulls it down. He is fouled by Morgan. There's a lot of contact on that bucket, and Morgan is a hefty kid. That's number 2 on Morgan. And he fouled Miller as they were contesting that rebound. And that'll put Jim on the line as they walk the width of the floor to shoot at the other end. Miller's got 9 points tonight. Eaton's got 11 already. As Hansberger comes out after doing a yeoman job for the Tigers in time of need. You were speaking of that earlier. We'd possibly overlooked the contribution that John made to this ball club.
At the line with number 1, Jimmy Miller.
So Miller will be on the line for the Tigers now. And he'll be shooting a 1-on-1. 30-18. Tigers up. We've got 5:07 to play in the first half. As John came in, scored 4 points in his time in there. And now St. Clair's back as Miller fires the first free throw. It's good. He hung it on the front lip of the iron, and it skipped over and in. He'll have a second attempt. It seemed like he had more English on that shot than he normally puts on him. Too much rosin on the finger, huh? It rolls off. As he fires again, that's good. 32-18, and the Tigers will press. Barnes with the ball. They double team him. He gets it to Smith. Smith is covered by Murray. Throws it to the front court to Walker. Walker goes in the key, and St. Clair kicks the ball loose, but they'll call Jeff for kicking the ball. And it'll be Huntington ball on the side, far side.
Princeton's done an excellent job of breaking up that fast break. This Huntington team looks like they are geared up as a fast break team, and Princeton's done a good job of breaking it up so far.
As Barnes with the ball for Huntington, outside with it, gets it to Walker. Walker goes to the wing right side, comes all the way across court with a pass to Smith. Smith down the left side, fires off the baseline, good. John Smith puts it in. 32-20. Tigers up by 12 with 4:46 to play in the first half. And the Tigers had the ball inbounds coming up. The net was hung. The official jumped up and pulled the net down just in time the other official blew his whistle telling him the net was hung. So now the Tigers take it out of bounds all over again. As Eads with the ball. Takes it to St. Clair. They get it to the front court to DeWitt against a semi-press by the Ponies. As Eads with the ball out front, they double team him. He gets it to St. Clair. St. Clair gives it to DeWitt. DeWitt in the corner with it. Outside to St. Clair. Gives it back to DeWitt. Deep in the corner. He'll fire from 20 feet. It's on the iron, no good. Rebound pulled down by Huntington. As Walker brings it down. Gives it to Barnes. Barnes into the front court. Holds it up. Moves it to the left side. To Walker. To Morgan on the low post. Gives it back outside to Barnes to Smith. Drives the baseline. Puts the shot up. It's on the glass. No good. Rebound. Fall four brought down by Smith. Put back up and in by John Smith of Huntington.
By John Smith.
As Smith draws the Ponies within 10 of the Tigers, 32-22. As DeWitt inbounds it to St. Clair. And Huntington picking them up in the back court. As Eads gets it to the front court, gives it to Miller. Down to St. Clair, to DeWitt. DeWitt in the corner right side. Back outside to Jeff. As St. Clair gives it back to DeWitt, they go to Miller on the low post. He works underneath, puts it up and in off the low post. On the glass, he got it. 34-22. As Miller puts the Tigers up. As Stephon Murray takes the up-court pass away from Huntington. Gives it over to St. Clair, and the Tigers come back to the offense. Stephon has more fun playing this game than anybody I know.
He sure does.
They go to Eads on the wing, left side. As Eads on the dribble with it. Outside to St. Clair, to the left side to DeWitt. DeWitt on the wing, holds it overhead, trying to get it across to Stephon. Has it intercepted on a dangerous pass. As Jackson comes up with it, they go to Smith on the fly pattern. He drops it out of bounds. As John Smith, breaking down court, could not get the handle on the ball. Went on out of bounds, took the ball with him. 3:17 to play in the first half, 34-22. Tigers up as Eads in the backcourt with it for the Tigers. Gets it to St. Clair, works it to the near side, still in the backcourt. Now to Eads in the front court as Mike goes to the lane. And we've got a traveling call. As Eads slipped, there's a wet spot on the floor or something. His feet went like a pair of skis, and they called him for the travel.
You can see a skid mark where Mike slid down out there on the...
And the official comes over. He's going to get a towel and dry that spot. Of course, it's a little late to do it now, isn't it? And Huntington coach gets up to question that, and he tells the players, stay away from the coach, fellas. Can't have any consultation. He's just coming over to get a towel. What's all the production about?
That was an official timeout. I don't understand.
Nobody called the timeout, just the officials.
I think maybe the Huntington coach asked the official if Princeton had called timeout. And he just told him that it was an official's timeout.
Yeah, but... You know what, this is TV time. Okay, somebody in the crowd there, they got a TV timeout right now. Okay, 34-22. Tigers up on top with 3:07 left to play. Now, let's go back and play ball. Now the official...
You know, it was very observant of that official to call that timeout and clean up that wet spot.
Should have been called before that. We already had a man slide 6 feet.
But there shouldn't have been any question about the official's timeout to clean up a wet spot.
I don't think I question is how long a production he took of mopping up a wet spot. I mean, he made it into a major theatrical production with all the choreography and dramatics that it entitled itself to. All right, now, Huntington back to the offense. Walker with the ball in the front court, still on the dribble with it. Gives it to Barnes. Barnes comes around, top the key to the near side, gives it to Smith on the far side. As they're spreading it out to spread the Tigers' zone out right now. As Smith with the ball, top of the key, backs his way in on St. Clair, whips it to Morgan underneath and whips it right on out of bounds. As Morgan reaching to get the ball, couldn't get the handle on it.
That was a real pretty pass from Smith inside.
Too hot, wasn't it? For his man, anyway.
It was a little bit too hot. It would have been there.
That's right. As the Tigers come back, they go to Miller on the low post, and he is hammered underneath by Morgan. That's number 3 on Morgan. Morgan just checked in the ballgame second quarter, didn't he?
Just checked in the second quarter.
He checked in as the kamikaze man.
Well, he's got 3 of them already.
Well, Huntington plays a run-and-gun kind of game, and they also play very physical ball. So
They've got some good happiness underneath that bucket.
Somebody told me that Huntington played basketball under football experience. Miller on the line. He'll shoot 2 for the Tigers. 2:36 to play in the first half. 34-22. Tigers enjoying a 12-point lead. Miller fires. It's off the front iron. No good. He'll have a second attempt.
if they play on their football experience, they've got 2 running backs at guard. Two good punt returners.
As Morgan checks out and Hartsfield comes back into the ballgame for the Ponies. As Miller on the line now for the Tigers. He'll shoot 1 more. Tigers on top by 12. Jim fires. It's on the iron, short again. Rebound pulled down by Huntington. As Jackson pulled it down, he gets it out to Barnes. Barnes goes to the front court, goes around St. Clair, gives it to Smith. Smith on the right side. Murray cuts him off, gives it back to Barnes, firing top the key, no good. And Murray rebounds, has the ball knocked loose, picked up by Hartfield, and Jimmy spiked Hartfield's shot, took the ball out of the air, gave it out to Eads, and Eads to St. Clair, and the Tigers come to the offense. As the crowd comes alive on that block by Jimmy. Jimmy, his elbows over the rim that time, sparked the ball right back to him. As the Tigers now with St. Clair with the ball. To DeWitt on the right side, goes to the baseline. They go to Murray underneath. He puts the shot up, comes off the iron, no good. Miller tips 1 time, no good, tips again. And boy, they really jack him under there. And that's called on Hartfield. And that's number 1 on Hartfield. He clotheslined Jimmy, didn't he?
Yes, he did. And I thought Jimmy was going to the floor pretty hard, but he didn't.
I thought Jimmy was going to clothesline him back, so it looked back there for a minute. Well, Jimmy's pretty even-tempered. As Jimmy, a 75% free throw shooter for the Tigers, and he's on the line to shoot a 1-and-1. 1:56 to play in the first half. Princeton 34, Huntington 22. As Jimmy fires, it's good. Stephon playing in that second position on that lane was way over in front of the basket, waiting on that ball to come down. So Jimmy ready to fire again. He puts it up. It's on the front of the iron and good. 36-22 as Stephon deflected the inbound pass, and they give it back to Huntington. That's going to lock him to the spot, so he can't move on that baseline. And he did, but they didn't call it. He got it into Smith. Smith in the backcourt with it. Gets it to Barnes. Barnes into the front court. Gives it underneath to Jackson. Jackson puts it up and in on the Snowbird. 36-24 as Miller with the ball for the Tigers. Gets it to the front court to St. Clair. To Eads on the left side. Goes toward the corner with it. Gives it back outside to St. Clair. Jeff on the dribble. To the right side to DeWitt. Goes to the baseline. Fires good. DeWitt from about 8 feet. 38-24. A minute 29 to play. As Huntington comes back running with Walker. Goes to the baseline. Kicks it outside to Smith. Drives underneath. Puts the shot up good.
Huntington player was out of bounds underneath, I believe.
He was pretty close anyway, wasn't he? As Huntington pressing, as Eads gets the ball to DeWitt. DeWitt goes underneath with it to Stephon. Stephon puts it up on the glass, no good. And Miller tips. He is fouled from behind by Walker. On Walker, that's foul number 1. Team foul, about a dozen on Huntington. And Miller will be on the line to shoot 2 shots.
I don't have enough boxes in this scorebook to keep up with this.
Number 12.
There's been an awful lot of fouls called.
First. Back in the line. Jimmy Miller.
11 fouls called against
Okay,
Huntington.
that doesn't one too far for them. Miller on the line now. He'll fire 2 shots. Or is it 1-1? It looks like a 1-1. As Miller puts the first one up, pulls it short. It's on the front iron, drops in. Good. He got front iron and skipped it over and in. 39-26 with a minute 8 to play in the first half. As Miller moves in for his second attempt. As Jim ready, he fires. That's good. 40-26. Tigers up by 14. As Barnes gets it to the front court for Huntington. Gives it to John Smith. Smith on the far side. Backs his way toward the top of the key. Gives it back to Barnes. Back to Smith. He'll fire from 22 feet. It's on the iron and good. He got the iron, skips it up on the glass and dropped it. As he's with the ball in the backcourt for the Tigers. Gets it to St. Clair. St. Clair moves it to the front court to DeWitt. DeWitt gives it back outside to St. Clair, and then the pass going to DeWitt was deflected out of bounds by Huntington by John Smith.
For the Tigers, number 54.
As Schrader comes off the bench and into the game for the Tigers, and Stephon will get a chance to catch his breath. He'll get a blow. As the Tigers inbound it to St. Clair, to DeWitt. DeWitt on the left side to Eads in the lane. Fakes, gives it to Miller. It's knocked loose. Picked up by Huntington. As they get it out to Barnes. Barnes into the front court with it. To the left side to Smith. And DeWitt spikes the shot, and they call DeWitt for the foul. Huntington wanted the goaltending call on that also. I don't think they'll get that. I think they'll get the foul on DeWitt, though. And it is on DeWitt, and they're going to shoot 2 shots. That's foul number 2 on James.
Number 32, James.
29 seconds left to play in the first half. Princeton 40, Huntington 28. As John Smith on the line for the Huntington Pony Express. As Smith fires, it's good. He'll have a second attempt. He's got an unusual free throw motion. He kind of lifts it up there with both hands. He's shooting right-handed mainly, but that left hand stays on an awful long time for guide purposes, looks like. He fires again, it's good. He makes them, that's what counts. 40-30. As the Tigers come to the offense, Eads with the ball backcourt left side. Dribbles into the front court. Looking for help now. To Schrader, and he is fouled by Hartfield. As Hartfield dumped Schrader into the bleachers, put him into the cheap seats. That's number 2 on Hartfield, and Schrader walks to the line. And that's number 12 on the points now. So Russell Schrader on the free throw line for the Tigers. And he'll shoot a 1-and-1. As he'll fire with the right hand, he puts it up. It's off the flange, no good. Rebound fought for, brought down by Huntington. DeWitt contesting for it. Barnes with it in the backcourt now. Puts it on the floor, dribbling to the front court to Smith. Smith gives it back to Barnes, and they go back to Smith. As they play with it back and forth, and the ball deflected by St. Clair, pulled out of the air by DeWitt, and he is fouled by Barnes. As St. Clair, number 3 on Barnes, but St. Clair made the play, and DeWitt alertly right there to grab the ball. And when Barnes reached in for it, he got a piece of James DeWitt. 40-30. Tigers up by 10. 7 seconds to play in the first half. And we'll have James DeWitt on the free throw line. As James is a 71% free throw shooter for the Tigers this year. As DeWitt ready to fire. Puts it up with the right hand. It's good. He rolled it around twice, but it dropped. 41-30. Tigers up by 11 right now. And we'll get And Hansberger's going to come in the ballgame. He's coming in for DeWitt, but they can't come in until after he shoots the free throw. So DeWitt fires. Good. Now we'll get Hansberger in. DeWitt will get a chance to blow with 7 seconds left in the first half. As St. Clair will play a little front court pressure for the Tigers. Barnes with the ball. Brings it to the left side. Sparks his way in toward the lane. Fires. No good. Dragged down by Schrader. At the buzzer at the end of the first half. So it's the end of the first half of play. The Princeton Tigers 42. The Huntington Pony Express 30. As in that second quarter, Huntington got 15 points to go with a 15 they had in the first quarter. And the Tigers put 25 big ones on the board. So the Tigers putting together 2 quarters of 17 and 25 for 42 at halftime. Huntington having quarters of 15 and 15 for a halftime total of 30. And back at halftime, the Tigers leading just by 12 points. It was a little different. Was down Huntington some time ago. As we get the stats ready, this is Glenn May telling you we're going to be back with all the halftime stats. First, let's pause 30 seconds for this. As the Princeton Tigers enjoying a 12-point margin over the Pony Express, and this is one of the ones the Tigers want, as they Ponies hold an earlier victory over the Tigers by 13 points down in Huntington way back on Wednesday night, January the 9th. As we're working on some stats and have them ready for you, the Tigers putting together 2 quarters here of 17 and 25 for a halftime of 42 points, while Huntington putting together halftime or quarters of 15 and 15 for a total of 30 at halftime. As we get some team stats right now. Craig, are you ready?
Okay, looking at the shot charts for the first half, the Princeton Tigers hitting on 10 of 28 attempts in the first half for 36%, while the Huntington Pony Express hit on 13 of 30 for 43%. In the rebounding end of things, the Princeton Tigers had 20, while the Huntington Pony Express pulled 19, and the turnovers were pretty even with 11 going each way. While we have you ready, Bob?
Not quite. Just
okay. We'll talk a little bit. I've got Ray Lynch moving alongside. We'll be talking to Ray, and I believe Bob's ready right now.
Okay. In terms of individual statistics for the Huntington Pony Express, John Smith had 5 at the foul line for 17 points in the game. Mike Eads had 3 field goals. He was 5 of 6 at the foul line for 11 points. Jeff St. Clair, who was injured briefly in the first half, had 1 field goal. He was 2 of 2 at the foul line for 3 points. James DeWitt had 2 field goals. He was 2 of 2 at the foul line for 6 points. Stephen Murray did not score in the first half of this ball game. John Hansberger III came in, had 1 field goal. He was 2 of 2 at the foul line, 4 points. And Russell Schrader came in, and he missed his only free throw attempt, and he did not score in the first half. So Princeton had 12 field goals and 18 of 21 from the foul line. And the difference at this point is at the foul line where Princeton's 18 of 21 as compared to 6 of 9 for the Huntington Pony Express. And I'll turn it back over to Craig at this point.
Ray, we want to get your analyzation. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Analysis.
Analysis. Okay, tell us what's happening, what you saw happening out there on the floor.
Well, Craig, I don't think I've seen 2 quicker guards this year, last year, in a long time than what Huntington has.
They like to run with that basketball.
They like to run. They're quick. On defense, they got real quick hands. But they just don't have 3 guys underneath to go with that quickness outside. And I think that's what the difference is. They can just, they're running up and down the floor, but underneath they just can't match up with Princeton.
Well, I saw they do have a couple of big Husky boys, and they brought them in there and tried to push around on Jimmy there. And in the second quarter, it showed in the rebounding end of things. They pulled up just about even with the Tigers after the Tigers taking a little bit of advantage. But on the other end of things, the Huntington Pony Express, by doing this end of things, they ended up in foul trouble. They've got about 4 of their guys with 3 fouls. Let's see, they've got Johnny Smith, of course, one of their guards with 2. Dwayne Barnes with 3, and Brian Morgan, the big man who checked in for them, has also picked up 3 fouls.
I think they're trying to ride Jimmy pretty heavy in there. Jimmy looks like peanut butter on a sandwich sometimes. They're playing him that close, just right, one on front, one on the back, and he's drawing a lot of fouls that way. I don't think that they can they can match up with Jimmy under there and keep doing that. I'm not sure Jimmy can stand the beating that he's taking there tonight, because Jimmy's just taking a tremendous beating. I think the difference in rebounding, where they pulled even in the second quarter, was Mike Eads was crashing the boards in the first quarter. A lot of the Tigers were going underneath, and they were getting these 3-on-1 breaks down the floor. And I think the Tigers had to pull back on the defensive boards, or on the offensive boards, to try to keep Huntington from getting those fast breaks. And I think that's been the difference with the rebounding.
Of course, the thing I noticed is early in the ball game, both teams came out awful ragged, and the result was both teams had 11 turnovers in the first half, and that's an awful lot of times to turn the ball over. 11
turnovers is high, that's right. And, you know, if you look at the score and think about it, Princeton played really poor for the first 3 or 4 minutes of the game, and they were behind 7-0. So, in effect, in the last quarter and a half, after you got through the first 4 minutes, Princeton's outscored Huntington 42-23. If it weren't for that first few minutes, 7 points that Huntington got, I don't think this would be that close a game. And that surprises me, because Huntington's got a good ball team. They're quick. I guess that's the reason, you know, they beat Logan, and I guess that's the reason they beat Logan was their speed, not their size.
Of course, Bob attributes that to the fact that both teams played last night, had come right back again tonight and played another ball game.
Well, that's true, but, you know, Norfolk just made Huntington look bad last night, and, of course, Norfolk, that's the first AAA team that Norfolk's beaten this season. And so they're both tired tonight, and both are playing a little bit ragged, but I'm surprised with Huntington coming in with the giant killer that they have been this season, and then losing to Norfolk and not that good a showing tonight. I don't know, maybe there's somebody home we don't know about.
Hey, Ray, we want to mention one other thing. Last night, Beckley went against Greenbrier East, and they kind of put it on the Spartans. So that kind of puts a doubt on who the strongman is in this area.
There's been some real surprises with Beckley winning like that. Of course, Beckley's got that. Lost his name now, but the boy that was eligible second semester.
Right.
And he's really brought Beckley around, and Greenbrier East has taken a tumble. Logan's lost their last 5, counting last night. So, you know, for the whole state, you know, Princeton may surprise some folks with the strength they've got at the end of the season.
We're about ready for second half of basketball. We'll be back with tonight's second half when we return right after this.
The Huntington Pony Express 30 as we're ready for second half action. Ponies are breaking her huddle right now as they come out with John Smith, Gaston Walker. They didn't get Randy Smith. They got Dwayne Barnes, Jerome Hartfield, and James Jackson. Tigers come out with Jim Miller, Stephon Murray, Mike Eads, James DeWitt, and Jeff St. Clair.
Dad, one thing you may want to mention in the first half of action is that any slips of the tongue on our part was purely accidental.
As Miller to jump against Jackson, tip control by Huntington, is picking it up is Walker. Walker on the dribble with it in the back court. St. Clair puts pressure, drops off, and he gives it to Barnes. Barnes brings it to the front court for Ponies. To the left side to Smith. Smith back to Barnes, back to Smith, top of the key with it. As they look underneath, Tigers have 1-3-1 zone yet. As now they move it deep in the corner over to Hartfield. Hartfield gives it back outside. Now Smith with the ball, starts it to the lane, goes to the baseline, goes under, puts a shot up, good. It looked like he lost control of the ball, but it went in the basket. 42-32 as Huntington takes 2 points off that Tiger lead. As Eads takes it to the front court, and the official calls an over back, and he missed the call. He missed the call. So it'll be Huntington ball. We got to turn your mic back on. Okay. You want to talk about the official? Huntington to the offense. High post to John Smith, trying to get it underneath to Jackson. Throws it out of bounds. It'll be Princeton ball in the backcourt. As DeWitt will inbound it, gets it into St. Clair. Jeff moves it toward the front court against a press. Gives it to DeWitt. DeWitt on the left side, starts it toward the baseline. Gives it back outside to St. Clair. They go to Eads. He goes into the lane. Jump shot off the glass. Hangs it. Got it. And it hung for a long time. 44-32 as Huntington back on the run. As Walker into the front court, comes to the key, fires with the left hand, no good. DeWitt rebounds for the Tigers. Gets it out to Eads on the run. It's not close. Picked up by Stephon. Stephon into the front court, traps the ball against his leg, gives it to DeWitt. DeWitt comes across the lane, firing. It's off the iron, no good. Rebound. Pulled down by Huntington as they come out on the run. Barnes into the front court with it. Starts it to the lane. To the left side to Hartfield. He's firing. It's on the iron, no good. We got a whistle on a foul underneath. And it's on Huntington. And that may be on Smith. Let's see. It is on John Smith. and that's number 3 on Smith. It'll be Tiger ball in the back court as DeWitt inbounds it to St. Clair. Jeff directing traffic as he moves it to the back court. He is not in the front court yet. Now into the front court with it to Eads. Eads with the ball on the far side. They double team him looking for help. Gets it from St. Clair as Jeff takes it to DeWitt. DeWitt on the left side. Drops it to Miller on the low post. And he is fouled from behind by Jerome Hartfield as he's starting his shooting motion. And that'll put Miller on the line to shoot 2 on Hartfield. That's foul number 3. And team foul number 2 in the second half on the Pony Express. As Barnes talking to the official right now concerning the calls, as Huntington a little bit upset with the officiating here tonight. Well, that's all right. We were upset with it down there, too.
Yes, we were, because that was a very physical ball game. It almost got out of control.
On the line, fires the first free throw. Good. He'll have a second attempt. Well, we don't really... the officials doing the best job they can. And something they call a few in our favor and a few in their favor. And on the home floor, you get a little advantage. So Miller fires again. It's good. 46-32. Up court, Huntington comes on the run. Goes underneath with it to Walker. He puts it up and in. Good. As Princeton comes right back on the run. As he's into the front court looking for help. Gets it from Murray. Stephon to Miller in the lane. Going up for the shot. Has a knock loose. Pulled down by Huntington. Out to Barnes as they come to the front court with it. Barnes drives the lane. Puts the shot up. Good. 46-36. A 10-point advantage for the Tigers. As St. Clair with the ball. Moves it to the front court for Princeton. They double team him. He gets it to Eads. Eads drives the baseline. Drops it outside, and it's going to go to the back court. As St. Clair takes a nasty spill trying to save it. And it'll be Huntington ball at midcourt. 46-36. Tigers up by 10 right now. As Huntington trying to get into this transition running game. That's their game. As Barnes with the ball. Moves it to Walker. Walker on the far side. Gives it back to Barnes. Barnes comes toward the top of the key. Now to the near side. Holds it overhead. Gives it back outside to Walker. Walker moves it down the left side. Gives it back to Barnes. Top of the key. Works his way toward the lane. In the corner with it. Gives it back outside to Barnes. To Walker. As Walker on the dribble with it outside. Looking underneath for Jackson. Now they got Smith in the far corner. Comes around, gives it to Hartfield, goes down the lane, drops it back to Jackson, puts the shot up, no good. Rebound comes off, picked up by Barnes. He'll put the shot up, no good. Eads trying to fight for it, rebound put back up and in by Jackson of Huntington. 46-38, Tigers on top as St. Clair has the ball into the front court to DeWitt. He'll fire from the baseline, good. DeWitt from 10 feet left side, puts it in, and they'll stop. Huntington didn't really stop the clock to get the net down. The official down the far side. He threw the ball back to the official. The official looked at him kind of hard. I don't guess looks hurt too much, though, do they?
No. This Huntington team's in a hurry to get someplace.
Well, they are. As Gaston Walker, the ball on the far side, has it knocked loose. He loses it out of bounds. As Stephon Murray picked up on him, he looked to Stephon and reacted and lost the ball out of bounds.
That was a very good defensive play by Stephon Murray on that.
Coming into the ballgame for Huntington is Spots, Randy Spott. Now, he's coming back in. He let out early in the game. He's got a heavy brace on that left knee, and he's been limping on it. As Eads with the ball for the Tigers, now in the backcourt to St. Clair. Jeff still in the backcourt, now in the front court. They go across court with it to Eads. Mike starts it toward the lane. He'll fire from outside, 18 feet away, puts it in the bucket. Eads puts the Tigers up by 12, 50-38. As Barnes with the ball for Huntington, works his way to the front court. To the right side to Hartfield. Gives it right back outside the Barnes. Starts it into the lane. Trying to drop it underneath to Smith, and Smith is fouled, and that may be on Stephon. As it is called on Stephon. That's number 3 on Stephon. Team foul number 1 on the Tigers, second half. 50-38, Tigers up with 4.5 minutes to play in the third quarter.
Number 34, Stephon Murray.
As Huntington inbounds it to Smith, to Spot, to Barnes, firing out of the corner, no good. Eads rebounds for the Tigers. They double team him. He dribbles his way out, gives it to St. Clair. Jeff will work it to the front court. Goes to the lane with it. Trying to get it to Murray. Has a knock loose. Picked up by Huntington. Eads run over on the charge. No call on it. As Barnes goes down, fires. He is fouled by St. Clair. You see Eads get run over back there? That's number 2 on St. Clair. Team foul number 2 on the Tigers. And Princeton wants a timeout. So they're going to talk this one over. So with 4:12 left to play in the third quarter. Princeton 50, Huntington 38. We'll be back right after this. 50-38. Tigers on top by 12. And Bob, you had a comment on the foul situation.
Well, in the game, Princeton has Stephon Murray with 3 fouls, but the Huntington Pony Express has 4 players with 3 fouls on them. Morgan, who came in the second half, Jerome Hartfield, the starting center, and the two guards, Barnes and Smith. Now, both Barnes and Smith fouled out at Huntington, but Huntington went on and won the ball game anyway.
Well, have you noticed some slowing down any because of those fouls?
No, I haven't. This would be a very, very difficult game to officiate because that ball is going up and down this court. It's not always going...
in the right direction.
The team that starts is not always the one who winds up with it, but it's going. It would be a very difficult game to officiate.
As we'll have Dwayne Barnes on the free throw line for Huntington. He'll shoot 2 shots on the St. Clair foul. 4:12 left to play in the third quarter. 50-38. Tigers up by 12. Dwayne Barnes on the line. He'll shoot 2. As he fires with the right hand, it's good. He'll have a second attempt.
At the line for the Express, Dwayne.
Man, his Huntington team may be named right. Pony Express. They go over land, don't they? As Barnes ready to fire. His second attempt. He fires. It's good. 50-40. Tigers up by 10 as Murray inbounds it to Eads for the Tigers. Eads dribbling with it in the backcourt. Gives it to St. Clair. He's still in the backcourt. Now in the front court with it to DeWitt. DeWitt on the left side. Has it knocked loose. Goes to the floor. Kicked outside. St. Clair recovers for the Tigers. Gets it to Eads. Eads starts it down the right side. Back outside to Jeff St. Clair. Jeff moves it to the near side to DeWitt. DeWitt will fire. Good. From 18 feet. James DeWitt puts the Tigers up by 12, 52-40, with 3:45 to play in the third quarter. Barnes to Smith for Huntington. Smith goes to the lane. Gives underneath to Jackson. Fires. No good. Rebound to Miller in heavy traffic. Waits for it to clear. Gives it to St. Clair. St. Clair still under pressure from Barnes as St. Clair moves it to the front court. To Murray on the right side. Has a knock loose. Picked up by DeWitt. DeWitt goes to the corner, firing from 20 feet. Good. He buried it. 54-40. Tigers up. As Barnes into the front court with it for Huntington. Starts it down the right side. Stefan overplays him, and he gives it outside to Smith. Smith backs his way into the lane, runs into Stefan. We got a whistle and a foul. That'll be on Murray, but it was before the shot.
Well, it's 4 on Stefan, but Smith took his elbow and sort of pushed Stefan out of the way. I thought it was going to be the 4th foul on Smith.
As Schrader comes into the ball game, and Stefan will sit down with the 4 fouls. And it'll be out of bounds to Huntington on the baseline. As Barnes inbounds it to Smith. To the near side to Spot. They put it down to Barnes on the baseline. Barnes gives it back outside the Spot. He gives it right back to Barnes. Now we got a whistle and a 3-second violation called on Jackson of Huntington. 54-40. Tigers are up, and we get somebody off the bench coming in, and that will be Bert Frediking coming in for Huntington.
Into the game for the Express, number 53, Bert Frediking.
As Eads moves it to the front court now for Princeton. To Miller. Miller gives it outside to St. Clair. St. Clair way out front to Eads on the left side. Back to St. Clair. Jeff moves it down the right side. Back to Eads. Side to Key. He'll fire from 15 feet. It's in and out. No good. Miller rebounding. Lost it underneath. Is picking it up is Huntington. They come out on the run. Out to Barnes. To the left side to Frediking. He bounces it out of bounds. Frediking hit that wall pretty hard down there. He's up. He said he's all right. And it'll be Tiger ball.
Somebody from Princeton really intimidated Frediking on that fast break.
As DeWitt inbounds it to St. Clair. St. Clair goes to the front court. We got a whistle and a foul on John Smith of Huntington. That's 4 on Smith. That's team foul number 3 on the Ponies. It'll be out of bounds for the Tigers.
Foul on the
As the Tigers will have it out at midcourt.
John Smith, that's his 4th personal foul.
As Eads will inbound it. Gets it in to St. Clair. Gives it to Eads. Mike starts it down the left side. Still on the dribble. Gives it back outside to St. Clair, and they spread it out a little bit. As St. Clair moves back to the top, to the point position. Gives it back to the left side to Eads. Now back outside to Jeff. He's standing in the center circle, just holding a ball. As they want Huntington to spread that thing out a little bit and play with him. As St. Clair fakes the pass to the right side, gives it back to the left side to Eads. Eads gives it back outside to St. Clair. And he gives it right back to Mike. As Mike starts it down the left side, backs it back away from trouble, gives it to St. Clair, and he's still way outside. Now Jeff starts it to the left side, gives it to Eads, and the ball knocked loose, picked up by Huntington. Coming out with it is Barnes. Barnes on the run with it into the front court, goes to the lane, puts the shot up, no good. Rebound, comes to the floor. Picked up by Spot of Huntington to Barnes. He'll fire from the free throw line. No good. Rebound to DeWitt. He is fouled from behind by Hartfield. And Hartfield really mouthing. That's number 4. And now there's a technical on Hartfield. That's number 4 on Hartfield. He is really livid. He is really mouthing. And they put a technical on Hartfield, and he comes right over and sits down on the bench. He didn't even wait for the coach to take him out.
Well, they had 5 players out there.
Well, somebody got off the bench and went right back in. Who was it? 50, yeah, Morgan.
35, Jerome Hartfield, his fourth. A basketball was
Now, did Morgan report into the score?
I didn't say anything.
If not, that's another technical. As St. Clair on the line to shoot the technical. He fires. It's good. Now, if he didn't report in, Bo Bowman's on the clock, he'll catch that.
I think I did see him go by and wave at the score.
I hope he did. As he's ready to inbound it for the Tigers. And they got a traveling call as he was locked to the position and moved his pivot foot. So now it's out to the Pony Express. 55-40. Tigers up by 15. A minute 44 to play in the third quarter. Spot with the ball to Smith on the high post. Goes all the way around to the baseline. Eads cuts him off. And he stepped on the baseline, or what we got? Timeout to Huntington. Well, I didn't see the timeout call. So a minute 38 left to play in the third quarter. Princeton 55, Huntington 40. We'll be back right after this. It's a minute 38 to play in the third quarter. Princeton 55, Huntington 40, in a very sloppy, error-plagued basketball game.
Yes, it is, and I'm not looking forward to having to add up all these fouls.
There's a bunch. And it'll be Huntington ball on the baseline. I thought that he'd stepped on the baseline, but evidently as he got close to it, he called a timeout over. Huntington will have it out of bounds as they bring it way outside the Spot. Spot top of the key with it to Smith, left side, backs his way in, fires over top of DeWitt. Bucket is good. He is fouled by DeWitt. As Smith converts the free throw, converts the bucket, that's foul number 3 on DeWitt. Team foul number 4 on Princeton. And that'll put John Smith on the line to shoot one free throw. A minute 34 to play in the third quarter. 55-42. The Tigers up by 13. As John Smith on the line now to shoot one throw. He fires. It's in and out, no good. Miller rebounds for the Tigers. Gets it out to St. Clair. St. Clair in the corner, behind the back dribble. Moves it on Barnes into the front court. Down the right side. Holds it up now, looks for help. He'll force the shot from the baseline. Made it. Good. As St. Clair puts the Tigers up 57-42. As Barnes brings it to the front court for Huntington. Holds it left side, looks underneath, gives it to Spot. St. Clair almost had a steal, but Barnes recovers, puts the shot up good. Dwayne Barnes hits it from 12 feet. As DeWitt with the ball into the front court, has it taken loose, picked up by Spot, gets it over to Smith. Smith into the front court with it for the Pony Express, starts it down the right side. Goes underneath, puts the shot up, no good. Rebound, slapped around, picked up by Spot of Huntington. Gets it outside to Barnes, and he is fouled by St. Clair. That's number 3 on Jeff. 57-44, and team foul number 5 on the Tigers. It's 57-44 right now. Princeton on top by 13 points. 51 seconds to play in the third quarter, and Dwayne Barnes on the free throw line for Huntington.
Foul on Jeff St. Clair, his third. At the line, number 23.
As Dwayne Barnes on the free throw line for Huntington to shoot a 1-and-1. Barnes will fire with the right hand. He puts it up. It's good. He'll have a second attempt. Huntington's a good free throw shooting ball club. They're pretty good shooters, pretty good runners. They just don't have a lot of size, but boy, the way they jump, they could be dangerous. As Barnes ready to fire again. He puts it up. It's good. 57-46. 11-point advantage to the Tigers as DeWitt will inbound it against the Pony Express press. He gets it into St. Clair. Jeff on the run, takes it to the front court, starts it down the lane, puts the shot up. It's good. He's fouled. Let's go. See if they count the bucket. That foul called on King. And the official warned him, don't say anything. And they say the foul was before the shot, no goal. And the Huntington coach asking something. And they're in some kind of discussion. The official says not now. We'll discuss it later. That's number 1 on King. Team foul number 5 on Huntington. That'll put St. Clair on the line to shoot a 1-and-1. As St. Clair waiting patiently at the free throw line, waiting for the official to come to him with the ball, and they do. And now Jeff will fire a 1-and-1. He's got the first one on the way. It's good. He'll have a second attempt. 58-46. Tigers up by 12. 47 seconds to play in the third quarter. As Jeff ready to go again. He fires. It's in and out, no good. Rebound pulled down by Morgan of Huntington. He gets it out to Barnes. Barnes into the front court with it. DeWitt heads him off. Gets it to Smith, deep in the corner. Back outside to Barnes. Goes to the lane. Fires. Off the iron, no good. Miller tipping, rebounding. He is fouled by Friedeking or Barnes. I don't know which. Let's see which one. Friedeking, probably. It is Friedeking. That's number 2 on. It's really Friedeking, isn't it? And that's team foul number 7. And that'll put Jimmy on the line to shoot a 1-on-1 for the Tigers. 34 seconds to play in the third quarter. 58-46. Tigers up by 12. And Jimmy's on the line and ready. He gets that right foot set, pounds the ball on the floor about 3 times and fires. It's good. He'll try it again. The official walks in and says, fellas, they did so well, we'll do it again. 59-46. Tigers up by 13. Jimmy Miller on the free throw line for the Tigers. He'll shoot one more. He's got it on the way. Pulled it short. No good. We got a whistle and a foul. And it's on John Smith, is it? If it is, he's out of there. It is on John Smith, shoving his way off that free throw line. That's 5 on John Smith.
Miller's 10 of 13 at the foul line tonight.
Miller's 10 of 13. As Smith comes out, he's unhappy about it. And that will put Schrader on the free throw line for the Tigers. As Schrader and Smith mixing it up on that lane. And I guess Smith made the mistake of hitting back. Pushing back, got caught. So Russell Schrader on the free throw line for the Tigers, as Smith gone for the night. Guess we can cross him off my list. As Schrader to fire the 1-on-1, puts it up, no good. Rebound, fought for, brought down by Friedeking of Huntington. Out to Barnes, into the front court with it to Walker. Walker goes under, tripped by Eads. And Eads tripped him, turned around to the official and said, who, me? And on Mike, that is foul number 3. And that'll put Gaston Walker on the free throw line for Huntington. He'll shoot the 1-on-1. 30 seconds to go in the third quarter. Then all we've done tonight is shoot free throws, isn't it?
Just about. This game would have started at 8 o'clock. It will be over about the same time. It looks like it's going to be over starting at 7:30.
As Walker hits the first one, and now the Tigers call for it. Now the Pony Express calls for a timeout. So with 30 seconds left to play in the third quarter, Princeton 59, Huntington 47. We'll pause for these messages. And this has been a long third quarter.
Yes, it is. Johnny Smith left the ball game with 8 field goals, 2 of 3 at the foul line, and 18 points. Easily the leading scorer in the ball game for Huntington.
You know, if they started this at 8 o'clock, well, they'd have to call it for curfew.
Have to do what?
Call the curfew.
We might give an extension on that ordinance.
Oh, that's your ordinance, you know. As we come back, we'll have Gaston Walker on the free throw line to shoot the second end of his 1-on-1. He's out there and he's ready. He fires with the left hand. He started to fire and then he changed his mind. 59-47, Tigers up. Now he fires. It's good. 59-48 with 30 seconds on the clock, and they're pressing. As the up court pass goes awry, and Huntington recovers. Barnes with the ball, looks at the clock. Now he dribbles it outside, and they'll set the offense. 1-3-1 zone for the Tigers. Tigers with St. Clair, DeWitt, Miller, Schrader, and Eads. As he can walk around all the time he wants, he's behind. He's got the force to play. 10 seconds now as they want the last shot. To Walker. Walker the ball. He'll start it into the lane. Fires. It's on the iron. Good. As he got it with 2 seconds on the clock, and now the buzzer sounds. And we got a foul. Foul on Walker right there. As the inbound pass coming into Miller, he was fouled from behind by Walker. And that's number 2 on Walker. then Friday night on the road with North Fork.
And who seems to be playing better, and of course they've got all kinds of talent.
And then the next week, the final 2 games of the season, as we got Beckley on the road and Greenbrier East in here. And Coach, you need to schedule a few more breathers going into tournament time.
Yeah, we can't be much tougher, can it?
But the Tigers have played real well this week, and I think that they have made the progress that you thought they would make. I think early in the season you said after you get a few games under your belt, we'll be a good ball club. And the Tigers right now are a good ball team.
Yeah, they seem to, the boys are putting it all together, and they're playing as a team is a big thing. We've got enough outside shooting to offset the inside play of Jimmy, so it makes us a little more complex team for the other teams to defense, because they can't stop us outside and by letting up inside, and they can't back in their heads inside and keep our boys from shooting outside. So it's really a team situation, and we've been able to get some offense out of outside and inside, and of course it's been a big help to us.
And of course, Tigers right now on the season with a record at 11-4. That's 10 out of the last 11 victories. Now, each team that had defeated the Tigers earlier this year that they played, they have revenged that defeat with one more to go. Well, they've got Greenbrier East, and they've got them here for the final game of the season. I'm sure you're gunning to make sure that every team that you play this season, you whip at least once.
Well, we try to win every game we can, possibly. And, of course, I never look past the next opponent. I really don't. I know how many we got to play, but I just look at the next game and got to get ready for it, and you can't play them till you get to them.
Early in the game, it was kind of ragged. The Tigers seemed like they had just a little bit of trouble settling down. Is this possibly because of the very hard ball game they had last night?
It was a big emotional ball game last night. Our kids played with intensity tonight, but they weren't as emotional as they were last night, and I think that stands to reason. It's hard to be that way 2 days in a row, because they really played with intensity and emotion last night. Tonight they played with intensity.
And of course, the kids wanted this one badly, because I think every one of them felt pretty bad about that thing down in Huntington back in January.
Yeah, and Huntington has a fine ball game team. They'll be very tough. They won some big games.
Well, they beat Logan, and Huntington very well could be one of the participants in the state tournament this year.
Yeah, they could make it.
Okay, we're talking with Coach Ralph Ball, and we're going to let him go as he needs to get into the dressing room. Coach, we want to pass on the JV score. The JVs won tonight 74-64, but Ralph, thanks for stopping by to visit, and congratulations on a big win.
Right, thank you.
And they handed me something that we failed to pass on JVs. JVs victorious tonight 74-64 and scoring for the Tiger JVs. And they played Bramwell tonight, the underclassmen from Bramwell. David Livingston with 22 points, Frank Jenkins with 8, Jeff Adams with 9, Curtis Graham with 4, Jim Posey with 10, Kevin Smith with 6, Brian Lusk with 11, David Brooks with 4, for a total of 74 for the Princeton JV. So the Tigers victorious both ends tonight as they defeated the Huntington Pony Express right here 88-72 to run their season record to 12-4 on the season. I'm Glenn May, speaking on behalf of Grego and Bob Graham, saying we appreciate the fact that you've allowed us to be a part of your evening. The fact of the matter is, we say thanks so much for listening. Good night, all.